Hello and welcome to the 700 Club. For today's top headlines, let's go over to the CBN News Desk.
Gordon, California is on alert today for the possibility of an even bigger earthquake after a 6.4 magnitude quake hit the southern part of the state Thursday, the largest since 1999. George Thomas has the story.
Seismologists are warning residents of Southern California to expect more aftershocks following Thursday's massive earthquake.
There is about a 1 in 20 chance that this location will be having an even bigger earthquake within the next few days, that we have not yet seen the biggest earthquake of the sequence.
All units, we are on citywide earthquake mode.
California now under a state of emergency after the largest earthquake in 2 decades hits near the small desert town of Ridgecrest, about 150 miles from Los Angeles.
We lost everything that we have. I have no TVs, I have no dressers, I have nothing.
Surveillance video inside this convenience store capturing the moment shortly after 10:30 in the morning local time when the quake hits, sending employees running for cover and items flying off the shelves. Patients at a local hospital in Ridgecrest forced to evacuate the building after suffering minor injuries.
The computers were flying off onto the ground. The water bottle container was shaking.
The quake so powerful it was picked up on a seismograph in Pennsylvania and left a large crack clear across this highway in Southern Cal. Ben Hood lives in Ridgecrest and said his neighbor's home caught fire after the quake.
Oh my God, those are the tires blowing up on the cars.
Firefighters in Ridgecrest, a town of 28,000 people, scrambled to put out a number of fires.
We have multiple injuries. We've had 2 house fires. We've had small vegetation fires, power lines down, gas leak.
The earthquake lasted about 20 seconds and was felt throughout Los Angeles, as far north as Fresno, and as far east as Las Vegas, Nevada. It was even felt in Mexico, where buildings were evacuated in Tijuana. There have been more than 100 aftershocks since. George Thomas, CBN News.
In other news, President Trump saluted America and its military in his patriotic 4th of July speech in Washington, calling the story of our country, quote, the greatest political journey in history, and promising that more great times could lie ahead.
Now we must go forward as a nation with that same unity of purpose. As long as we stay true to our cause, as long as we remember our great history, as long as we never, ever stop fighting for a better future, then there will be nothing that America cannot do.
Trump was the first president since Harry Truman in 1951 to address a crowd at the National Mall on the 4th of July. Women are the fastest growing prison population in the United States. Behind the statistics are families picking up the pieces. CBN News correspondent Amber Strong shows us the story of one group working to heal these broken relationships.
The bus is loaded.
Kamaya. There you are, hi.
With snacks ready to go.
You're gonna grab 2 of those babies, aren't you? I know you are.
It's a 2-hour drive well worth the wait.
If you look over my shoulder, you'll see arts and crafts and plenty of laughs, but this isn't your typical field trip. Today's outing is at the Woodman State Jail in Texas.
No matter what, these women are mothers.
Attorney Brittany K. Barnett is the force behind GEM, or Girls Embracing Mothers, a prison program uniting daughters with their moms behind bars.
We're breaking the cycle, building the bond between mothers and daughters, but also between the girls who are going through a situation that they feel no one else can understand, and now they're in a group, or a family as we call ourselves, of people who get it.
That family includes mothers from prisons all over the region. To qualify, program participants cannot be incarcerated for crimes against children or the elderly, and must be infraction-free for 6 months.
Pray for me, or I'll pray for her. So that's something that is supportive.
But it isn't just arts and crafts. The mothers take parenting courses and dive into their goals, spiritually and financially. Former GEM mom turned employee Angelica Zaragoza remembers being on the other side of that conversation.
My first visit with my daughter with GEM, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even speak to her because I knew she was disappointed in me. I knew I hurt my baby.
But things got better with time, GEM, and faith. Monica Newton jumped at the opportunity to join, determined to create positive memories despite the circumstances.
Callie will ask me, Mommy, how many more days before I ride the black bus to come see you? And it's just something that we get to share together that's really a pleasure.
That's a good thing, as a strong family bond can prevent these moms from returning to prison.
We don't want that disconnection, because once they're released from the facility, we still want to make sure that we're focusing on our recidivism.
Maisha Garcia says she's determined to take advantage of this second chance at motherhood.
I didn't get that God loves you and, and you're valuable and you're wonderfully and fearfully made. I didn't get that, so now I instill it in them.
This work is a constant force in Barnett's life. Barnett and former inmate Sharonda Jones are the masterminds behind the Buried Alive Project, a nonprofit working toward freedom for nonviolent drug offenders serving life sentences. She also worked feverishly to secure the freedom of Alice Marie Johnson. Even still, she says her heart belongs to Jim because she's been there.
After experiencing the incarceration of my own mom, and I was a young adult at the time, early 20s, and I just know how it greatly impacted my sister and I, even as young adults. I couldn't imagine being 9 or 10.
Her mom is free now, and they get to spend a lot of time together these days, working side by side, polishing the next generation of Jims. Amber Strong, CBN News, Gatesville, Texas.
Did you ever wonder if Noah's Ark could really have been big enough to keep all those animals safe from the biblical flood? As Paul Strand reports from Kentucky, standing next to an accurate reproduction of the Ark may cause any doubts to fall away.
More than 1 million people a year have flocked to central Kentucky's Ark Encounter since it opened in 2016. Sure, you've heard of Noah and the Ark, but you may have never really been impressed by the scale of what the man built until you're standing by an exact replica of the Ark. Then you realize why it took him a few decades to build it. Not a couple, a few. Quite a few. The Ark Encounter's Patrick Kanuski says the length, width, and height are all accurate.
It's the biblical proportions. These are the dimensions from Genesis.
One amazing revelation expert nautical engineers brought in to consult found as they studied God's design for the Ark that it was absolute perfection.
It's a perfect dimensions for seaworthiness, weight distribution, smoothness of ride.
When CBN News first visited the Ark as it was being built, it was pretty much a huge rectangle with hardly anything inside. Now, the 10-story high vessel is crammed with more than 100 exhibits and stuffed with animals in their flood time cages. A model inside the Ark shows how they could have all fit.
Could it have actually been able to house 6,000 to 7,000 animals? Yeah, we think so.
And tourists can ask Noah himself about such things because versions of his entire family are on board, and Noah's talks.
It really wasn't hard to find the animals, since God brought them right to me, just as he said he would.
Noah's family teaches a great lesson in racial harmony, reminding visitors, no matter their color, everyone on Earth is a descendant of Noah, all just one human race.
And from these 8 people actually comes the rest of us here in the world.
The exhibits show human history from the time of perfection in the Garden of Eden, then illustrate the downward spiral as sin, death, and destruction came into the ancient world, bringing humanity finally to a time of judgment and the biblical flood. Ark Encounter also gives visitors the hope that Jesus Christ's life, death, and resurrection bring mankind. The main door that Noah's family and all the animals would have come through is lit up on the inside with Christ's cross.
It's a metaphor, if you will, for salvation, safety.
A lesson you get while moving through what Kanuski reveals is the largest timber frame structure in the world.
Some people have equated it to the 8th wonder of the modern world.
Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from the Ark Encounter in Kentucky.